My name is Rowena Chase. I'm 28 years old. 3 months ago, my parents looked me straight in the eye and handed me a house that was already falling apart. Cracked walls, rotting floors, no running water. Meanwhile, my younger sister, Ilara, received a luxury penthouse in the heart of the city, floor-to-ceiling windows, private elevator, the kind of place people take photos of just to prove they've been there. I didn't argue. I took the rusted key, drove 40 minutes out past the last gas station, and stood in front of something that barely qualified as a house. And then, I rebuilt it. Every nail, every plank, every layer of paint. $12,000. 400 hours. My hands bleeding, my back aching, my savings gone. And when my mother finally came to see what I had turned that ruin into, she didn't smile. She didn't say she was proud. She said, "We're taking the house back. It belongs to your sister now. You have 48 hours." And when Ilara showed up with her suitcases, the look on her face told me something wasn't right. But I'll get to that. Before we continue, take a moment to subscribe, but only if this story resonates with you and when you believe you deserve to be appreciated. Tell me where you're listening from and what time it is there. And just so you know, this is a fictional story with some AI-enhanced details to make it more emotional and engaging. Now let me take you back. Friday evening, early March, the night everything started. It began at my parents' dining table, the same dark oak table where every important decision had been announced since I was a kid. My father, Victor Chase, stood at the head, 59, former financial director, the kind of man who doesn't raise his voice because he never needs to. In this house, silence meant obedience. My mother, Helena, stood beside him, hands folded, smiling, not a warm smile, a practiced one. And across from me sat Ilara, my sister, my reflection, my opposite, the favorite. "We've decided," my father said, "to give both of you a head start." He slid 2 envelopes across the table, one thick, one thin. Ilara grabbed hers first. Inside a sleek gold key card and a printed contract. A penthouse, downtown, 2 bedrooms, skyline view, worth at least 300,000. She gasped. No, she squealed. My mother pulled her into a hug, laughing, holding her like she'd just won something. And for a moment, it was like I wasn't even in the room. I opened mine. A single key, brown, rusted, and a scrap of paper with an address I didn't recognize. I looked up. "What is this?" My father didn't hesitate. "It needs work," he said, then added, almost casually, "But you're good with your hands." That was it. No explanation, no encouragement. Just, "You're useful in a different way." I glanced at my mother. She avoided my eyes, still holding Ilara. And Ilara, she tilted her head, gave me that soft, almost sympathetic smile, and said, "At least you got something." Rowena, soft voice, gentle tone, but I saw it. That tiny flicker at the corner of her mouth. That wasn't kindness. That was satisfaction. I folded the paper, slipped it into my pocket, and said nothing. I should have, but I didn't, because I didn't know then that my father had already made his choice long before that dinner. He had gone through my grandmother's old property records, skipped over 4 decent houses, and picked the one most likely to break me. Saturday morning, I drive 40 minutes west along County Route 17 past the last row of convenience stores, past the final gas station, into a stretch of road where the houses start to disappear and the trees grow thicker, closer, like they're watching. The address leads me down a narrow gravel path, and when I see the house, I don't get out of the car. I just sit there. The roof sags on one side like it's given up. Two front windows are shattered, patched with yellowing plastic that flaps weakly in the wind. The porch steps are half collapsed, one missing entirely. Weeds, waist high, swallow the yard. The whole structure leans slightly to the right, like it's tired of standing. For a moment, I wonder if this is some kind of mistake. Then I look down at the paper again. It's not. The smell hits me before I even open the door. Mold. Rot. Something damp and old, and something else I don't want to identify. Inside. It's worse. Wires hang loose from the ceiling. Pipes are rusted through. The kitchen floor dips under my weight. The wood warped and soft like it's been soaked for years. I step back outside and sit on the one piece of porch that doesn't collapse under me. Then I call the only person I trust. Adrian Cole, 30 years old, real estate attorney, and the one person in my life who has never twisted the truth to make things easier. We met our first year of college. He's the kind of person who shows up at 2 in the morning and doesn't ask questions until after he knows you're okay. How bad is it, he asks. I look at the house. Roof sinking, wirings exposed. No water. There's a pause on the other end. Then, calmly, do you want me to check the deed? Not yet. My voice cracks. And I hate that it does. I just need a minute. He doesn't push. He gives me silence. Real silence. I hang up and stare at the house again. And for some reason, I think about my grandmother, Evelyn Chase. When I was 9, she taught me how to build a bookshelf in her garage. She stood behind me, guiding my hands over the wood, and said something I didn't understand back then. Your hands know things your mind hasn't learned yet. I didn't realize it at the time, but that memory would end up meaning everything. That night, I sit in my truck with a notebook and a calculator. Roof 8,000, floors 5, plumbing 6, electrical 7, paint, drywall, fixtures, another 9, $35,000. I check my bank app. 12,411. I close the notebook, then open it again, and start crossing things out. What can I do myself? Floors? Yes. Drywall? Yes. Paint? Obviously. Cabinets? Trim? Built-ins? That's not just possible. That's what I do. I've been working with wood since I was 16. I restore furniture. I build things people keep for decades. I'm good at it, even if my family has never once called it a real career. To them, I'm just the daughter who works with her hands, while Alara wears tailored suits and signs contracts. Monday morning, my phone rings. Alara. Her voice is sweet in that very specific way, the kind that always comes right before something sharp. Oh, Rowena, are you seriously going to live there? It's mine, I say. I'll make it work. A soft laugh. You could just sell it. Get yourself a small apartment. Something normal. I said I'll make it work. There's a pause. Then she says, lightly, okay, good luck with that. She hangs up. That same afternoon. My mother texts, "Don't waste your savings. Rowena, your father knows what he's doing." I stare at the message, then lock my phone. No reply. I drive straight to the hardware store and load up 200 pounds of lumber into the back of my truck. The first week, I rip out the entire kitchen floor, on my hands and knees, splinters, dust, sweat running into my eyes. I haul broken boards into a rented dumpster, piece by piece, until the space is nothing but exposed beams and possibility. On the third day, someone speaks. "You're going to be busy for a while." I look up. A woman stands on the other side of the fence, mid-60s, sharp eyes behind reading glasses, the kind of posture that says she doesn't waste words. "Yeah," I say, wiping my hands on my jeans. She studies the house, then me. "Lot of work." I nod. "Yeah." She disappears for a moment and comes back with a glass of ice water, handing it to me like it's the most natural thing in the world. I didn't ask for it. She doesn't say anything else right away, just watches me for a second, then nods toward the house. "This land used to belong to Evelyn Chase," she says. "That your grandma," I freeze. "Yes." "How do you know that?" She shrugs, like it's obvious. "I've lived here over 30 years. Honey, I know who owned what." I don't respond, but I remember it. I tuck it somewhere in the back of my mind, even though I don't fully understand why it matters yet. 6 weeks later, I have nothing left. Not low, gone. Every dollar I had is now inside this house. The subfloor is new, the drywall is up, the roof no longer leaks when it rains. The kitchen has cabinets I designed and built myself. White oak, clean lines, dovetail joints that fit so perfectly they don't even need glue. The living room wall that used to crumble when you touched it is now smooth, painted a warm white, solid, real. You can press your palm against it and feel something that didn't exist before. But the electrical system? That's where things get complicated. The original wiring is ancient, knob and tube from decades ago. I've replaced what I can reach. But the main panel needs a licensed electrician, $3,000 to $5,000. Money I don't have. So I do what I can. Temporary wiring, conduit. Safe enough to pass a visual check, but not permanent, not right. I write it down in my project notebook and underline it twice. Electrical, priority, hire licensed electrician. As soon as possible. At night. I take on extra work, custom cutting boards, small furniture pieces, a reclaimed wood dining table for a couple in the next town. $60 here, 90 there. It's not enough to move forward, but it's just enough to keep the lights on. Literally. Then one Tuesday afternoon, without warning, my father shows up. Victor Chase. No call, no message. He just appears in the doorway like he owns the place. Hands in his pockets, eyes scanning everything. Not like a father, like an investor. He walks slowly through the living room, running his finger across the fireplace mantel I restored. Opens one of the cabinets, lets it swing shut. He doesn't say anything. Not for a full minute. Then finally, "Not bad." That's it. 2 words. I wait. For anything else. But nothing comes. "Don't get too attached," he adds, almost casually. My stomach tightens. What does that mean? He looks at me. Expression flat. Unreadable. I said what I said. And just like that, he turns and leaves. I stand there, listening to his car disappear down the gravel road, and something settles in my chest because I realize something I wish I hadn't noticed. The way he looked at this house, it wasn't pride, it was evaluation. 2 days later, I drive into the city. I stop outside Alara's penthouse to pick up a drill I lent her months ago. I text her, no response. So I call. She answers on the third ring. I'm busy, she says quickly. Just leave it outside. I'll grab it later. I just need the drill. Alara, I said I'm busy. Rowena, her voice is tight, thin, like she's holding something together behind the words. I stand there in the hallway, staring at her door. Something about the way she said it doesn't sit right. And for the first time, I don't leave. I stay where I am for a few seconds longer, then slowly step back. But before I leave, I notice something. Stacked outside her door are packages. Not one or two, 11. Large ones, shoe boxes, designer bags, a flat-screen TV still sealed in foam. Boxes piled so high they nearly block the welcome mat. I frown, then I knock again. Alara, I just need the drill. I said I'm busy. Her voice sounds different now, tighter, stretched thin. I step back slightly, and through the narrow gap beneath the door, I see the flicker of a television. It's 2 in the afternoon, on a weekday. Then her phone rings inside. I don't mean to listen, but I do. She picks up, and her voice drops into that quiet, urgent whisper people use when they don't want to be overheard. Mom, I just need a little more time. A pause. The credit card company keeps calling. Another pause. No, I haven't told him. Please don't tell Dad. And then I hear my mother's voice, faint through the speaker. We'll figure it out. Sweetheart, just don't tell your father. I stand there. 10 seconds. Maybe less. Then I turn and walk away. Quietly. I don't knock again. I don't say anything. I tell myself it's not my business, that whatever is happening behind that door has nothing to do with me. But when I get back into my truck, something surfaces. A memory. I'm 16, standing in the kitchen, watching Alara slip cash out of our grandmother Evelyn's purse while she sleeps in the next room. A 20, then a 50. I told my father that night. I remember it clearly. The way he looked at me, not confused, not concerned, angry. Stop making things up about your sister. He didn't question her. He shut me down. That was the moment I learned something I never forgot. In this family, the truth only matters when it comes from the right daughter. I sit there, hands on the steering wheel, staring out at nothing, and for the first time, a question forms that I can't ignore. How much does Alara actually owe, and what happens when my father finds out 10 weeks after I first arrived? The house is almost unrecognizable. New floors, reinforced walls, a kitchen that looks like it belongs in a design magazine, because I built every inch of it myself. I take a few photos, before and after, my hands covered in dust, morning light pouring through the windows I replaced. I post them online without thinking much of it. But within hours, the comments start coming in, from old classmates, from people I barely know, from complete strangers. This is incredible. You did this yourself? This is insane. For the first time in a long time, it feels like someone is actually seeing me, not as the other daughter, not as the one who was given less, just me. Then Thursday evening comes, and with it, something I wasn't prepared for. I hear the sound of tires on gravel. I step outside. My father's car pulls into the driveway. My mother is in the passenger seat. They get out like they've done this 1,000 times before, like this place still belongs to them. They don't knock. They just walk in. I follow behind them, slower, watching. My mother moves through the house quietly, her fingers brushing along the walls, opening cabinets, running her hand across the countertop I sanded and sealed with my own hands. She doesn't say anything, not a single word. She just observes, like she's taking inventory. My father stops in the center of the living room like he's about to deliver a decision, not start a conversation. Your mother and I have been talking. Something in my chest tightens. About what he doesn't hesitate. Ilara needs this house. For a second. I think I heard him wrong. The room feels like it shifts slightly beneath my feet. Excuse me. From the hallway, my mother's voice slips in, soft and controlled. Her penthouse. There were complications. She can't stay there anymore. I look back at my father. What kind of complications he doesn't answer. Not even a glance in that direction. Instead, he says, flat and final. The deed is still in my name. Rowena. This house belongs to me. My hands start to shake. I press them down against the counter. My counter. I rebuilt this house. I say. My voice steady in a way I don't feel. Every wall. Every floor. With my property. He cuts in. On my land. My decision. My mother steps closer, her tone gentle. Practiced. We'll make it up to you. Honey, this is what's best for the family. I look at her. She won't meet my eyes. I look at him. He's already decided. This isn't a discussion. It never was. If you think my mother was right to ask me to give up the house I rebuilt for my sister, comment like, but if you don't agree with that choice, comment dislike. I really want to hear your thoughts, because maybe your perspective will help me make the right decision moving forward. I don't cry. I don't raise my voice. I don't argue. I just say 5 words. I need to make a call. That night, at 11, I'm sitting on the kitchen floor, the one I installed myself 6 weeks ago, back against the cabinets I built. Everything around me is something I created, and somehow, none of it feels like mine. I pull out my phone and call the one person who has never made me feel small. Adrian picks up on the first ring. What happened? I tell him everything. My father showing up, the 48 hours, Ilara needing the house, my land, my decision. He doesn't interrupt. When I finish, there's a short silence. 3 seconds. Maybe. Then his voice changes. Calm. Precise. His lawyer voice. Is the deed in his name? That's what he says. Did you ever see it? No. Any paperwork transfer documents? Notarized copies? No. He told me he'd handle everything. That's the first problem. A pause. Then he continues. The second. Who actually owns the land? Something clicks. A memory. The neighbor. Her voice. This land used to belong to Evelyn Chase, my grandmother, my father's mother, Adrian. My neighbor said this land used to belong to my grandmother. Used to, he repeats. Or still does I? Don't know. Another pause. Give me 24 hours, he says. Do not sign anything. Do not move anything. Do not respond to your father. Can you do that? I wasn't planning to. Good. Then his tone softens. Just slightly. And Rowena. Yeah, I've been waiting for you to let me help. There's something in his voice when he says that. Something small, but real. And it hits me all at once. He asked about the deed on the very first day. I brushed it off. Told myself I didn't need a lawyer. Told myself this was family, that it would work itself out. I was wrong. I end the call. The house is quiet again. At 12:30 a.m., my phone buzzes. A message from my father. Clock is ticking. I read the message once, then again, and I don't respond. For the first time in 28 years, I don't make it easier for him. By 9 the next morning, my phone is flooded. 17 unread messages. My mother first. Please don't do this to our family. Just let Alara have the house. We'll make it up to you. Then Alara. Rowena. I really need this. I'm not okay right now. Please. Then my aunt. My mother's younger sister. Your mom is crying. How can you be so selfish? A cousin I haven't spoken to in years. Family comes first. Don't be that person. It keeps going. Message after message, call after call. In less than 12 hours, the entire family network activates. And the conclusion is the same in every version. I'm the problem. At 10, my phone rings again. My father. I answer. But I don't speak. His voice is calm, controlled. The voice of a man who has never lost an argument inside his own home. If you fight this, he says, you won't just lose the house. A pause. You'll lose your family. I pull the phone away from my ear and stare at the screen. Then I set it face down on the workbench and pick up a chisel. I'm in my workshop, the small one I rent behind the hardware store on 5th Street. It smells like sawdust and linseed oil, the only place I've ever felt steady. I run my thumb along the edge of a hand-carved chisel, the one my grandmother, Evelyn, gave me when I turned 18. And I need someone to hear this, because my whole life, I was taught that family is everything, that you sacrifice, you bend, you make room. But no one ever told me that family can also be the people who use love like leverage, who dress control up as sacrifice, who hand you something broken and call it a gift. My phone buzzes again, a notification from the family group chat. I almost ignore it, but I don't. And when I open it, everything changes. My aunt, clearly trying to message my mother privately, has sent something to everyone. Helena says Alara owes over $60,000 in credit cards. Victor doesn't know yet. What do we do? I stare at the screen, read it twice, then take a screenshot, and save it. So that's it. That's the complication. 4 o'clock that afternoon. My phone rings again. Adrian. He doesn't say hello. Rowena. The land was never in your father's name. I stop moving. The sander in my hand goes still. What? It's held in a trust. He says. A revocable living trust. Established in 2012. My pulse starts to climb. Who's the trustee? Evelyn Chase. Your grandmother. The room feels colder. That's not possible. I say. He told me he owned it. A pause. Then Adrian answers. Calm and direct. Then he lied. Another pause. Or he assumed it was his. Either way. There's no recorded transfer. The county has no deed in Victor Chase's name. I slowly sit down on the edge of the workbench, trying to process what I'm hearing, because if that's true, then everything I've been told, everything I've accepted, was never real. My mind struggles to catch up with what Adrian is saying. The land, and everything on it, belongs to the trust. He continues. And the sole beneficiary listed, he pauses, is you. I lower myself slowly onto the workshop floor. Me, you. The word echoes in my head. For a second. Nothing makes sense. Because I haven't spoken to my grandmother in almost 2 years. Not because I didn't want to, because I was told not to. My father said she was getting confused. That calls would only stress her out. He said it so often, so casually, that eventually, I stopped questioning it, and then I stopped calling. Now my hands are shaking as I scroll through my contacts. I press her name. The phone rings. Once, twice, 3 times, 4, then hello. Her voice is softer than I remember, but steady. Grandma, it's me, Rowena. Silence. 1 second. 2. Then she says, gently, I was wondering when you'd call. Sweetheart, I can't breathe. Everything I've been holding in breaks loose at once. I tell her everything. The house, the repairs, the 48 hours, my father, Alara, all of it spilling out like something that's been waiting too long to be said. She doesn't interrupt. Not once. And when I finally stop, she speaks. I set up that trust for you. She says, not for your father, not for your sister, for you. My eyes fill instantly. The year you turned 18. Because I saw how they treated you. Baby. I saw it, and I planned for it. I press my hand over my mouth, trying to steady myself. I'm old. She continues softly, but I'm not gone. And that land is yours. Tears run freely now. I don't try to stop them. Grandma, I don't even know what to say. There's one more thing I need to tell you, she says. A pause, but not over the phone. My chest tightens again. I'm coming to see you. Before I can respond, the line goes quiet. The next evening, Adrian sits across from me at my kitchen table, the one I built myself from reclaimed pine. He places 3 neat stacks of documents in front of me. Let's go through this carefully, he says. Stack 1, the trust deed. Evelyn Chase established a revocable living trust in 2012. She is the trustee, and I am the sole beneficiary. The document lists the exact property, the land, and any structures built on it. It's notarized, filed with the county, legally airtight. Stack 2, permits, receipts, invoices. Every single piece of work done over the last 10 weeks is under my name. When I applied for permits, I signed as the occupant, as the beneficiary, and the city approved it. Not my father. Me. Stack 3. A screenshot. The message from my aunt. Alara owes over 60,000 in credit cards. My father doesn't know. Adrian taps the first stack lightly. Your father has no legal claim here. I look up at him. He can't transfer what he doesn't own. Adrian continues. He can't evict you from your own property. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. So the 48 hours, a bluff, he says. A loud one, but still a bluff. For the first time in 2 days, I can breathe. Then what do we do? Adrian leans back slightly, studying me. Nothing. Not yet. I frown. Nothing, we wait. For what? For them to make their move. Publicly. I don't understand. Why publicly? Because your father didn't just lie to you, Adrian says. He built that lie in front of everyone. He told the family this was his house, his land, his decision. He pauses. That lie needs to fall in front of the same audience. I look down at the papers again. The trust, the permits, the proof. For 10 weeks. I thought I was fighting something I couldn't win, that I was powerless. But the truth was sitting here the whole time. I just didn't know it. And now, everything is about to change. The realization doesn't feel loud or dramatic. It feels quiet, like something shifting into place after being wrong for a very long time. Adrian pauses at the door before he leaves. One more thing. He says, that temporary wiring you told me about. Get it fixed, or at least documented. Everything in this house needs to be clean. I nod. I even write it down in my notebook. But I don't call the electrician, because by the next morning, none of that matters. At 8 a.m., my phone rings. It's my aunt, my mother's sister. Her voice is low, rushed, like she's hiding somewhere she shouldn't be. Rowena, listen to me. Something in her tone makes me stand still. Your mother is planning a housewarming party. I blink. What tomorrow? At your house. My grip tightens on the edge of the counter. She's invited 20 people. For a moment, I don't say anything. A housewarming party. For Alara, I ask quietly. Yes. At my house. Yes. The words don't feel real. She's telling everyone you agreed to it. My aunt continues. That you're giving Alara the house. That it was your idea. Something settles inside me then. Not anger. Not yet. Something colder. Something that's been building for years. Finally taking shape. Why are you telling me this? I ask. There's a pause. Because I sent that message by accident. She says, and now your mother won't even speak to me. Another pause. And because I've watched this family treat you like you're the easiest one to hurt. Her voice softens. It's not right. It never was. The call ends. I don't move for a second. Then I pick up my phone and dial Adrian. He answers immediately. It's tomorrow. I say, I'll be there. No hesitation. And your grandmother will be too. He adds, I close my eyes. She's 78. Adrian. She lives 3 hours away. She's already on the road. She called me this morning. I don't know what to say to that. My grandmother, driving alone, just to show up for me. That night, I sit in my workshop, a piece of walnut in my hands, fine grit sandpaper moving back and forth. The rhythm is steady, grounding. You ever have that feeling? When your entire family builds a story about you, a version of you where you're selfish, difficult, the one causing problems. And then they invite an audience to watch you play that role. I sit there for a long time. Then I set my alarm. 6 a.m. tomorrow. I walk into that house, either for the last time or for the first time as its rightful owner. I arrive at 9. The front door is already open. My door. The one I stripped, sanded, and stained with my own hands. propped open with a stopper I've never seen before. I step inside, and for a moment, I don't recognize it. Not because it's broken anymore, but because it's been taken over. My mother has been here since dawn. There are new pillows on the couch, a tablecloth I didn't buy, platters of food covering the countertops I built, pink and gold balloons hanging from the archway, and right in the center, a glitter banner. Welcome home, Ilara. My chest tightens. There are people everywhere. Aunts, uncles, cousins, my mother's friends, even a few neighbors I barely know. 20 people, all laughing, all talking, all celebrating something that was never theirs to celebrate, and right in the middle of it all is my sister. The room hums with conversation like nothing is out of place. People are holding paper plates, plastic cups, laughing like this is normal, like this is a celebration. In the center of it all stands Ilara, her hair perfectly styled, a new dress I've never seen before. She's smiling, laughing, glowing like this moment belongs to her. My father stands beside her, one hand resting proudly on her shoulder, chest out, satisfied. Then he sees me, and his voice cuts clean through the room. Rowena came to congratulate her sister. He says, "That's what family does." Every head turns. 20 faces, 20 smiles, all directed at me. I feel it like heat pressing against my skin. My mother appears beside me, placing a glass of lemonade into my hand like it's part of a script. "Be gracious, honey," she whispers. "This is hard for all of us." Before I can respond, my great aunt steps forward, patting my arm. "Such a generous thing you did," she says warmly, "giving your sister this beautiful house." I look at her, and I say, clearly, "I didn't give anyone anything." The room shifts, just slightly. The small, polite touches stop. My aunt blinks, confused. My father's voice lowers, sharp now. "Rowena, not here." Ilara moves toward me, smooth, controlled. Her voice soft like silk. "We talked about this." She says, "It's for the best." I glance around the room, 20 pairs of eyes. Not one of them knows the truth, and every single one of them is looking at me like I'm the problem, like I'm the one ruining something good. Through the window, I catch a glimpse of the neighbor. She's standing on her porch, watching, shaking her head slowly. I turn and walk into the kitchen. My kitchen. I hear Ilara's footsteps behind me. The moment we're out of sight, her expression changes. Completely. "You should thank me," she says. I turn. "For what?" "For giving you a reason to finally do something with your life." She leans casually against the island I built from raw wood, white oak, brass hardware, hours of work. You'd still be sanding chairs in that sad little workshop if it wasn't for me. My jaw tightens. I built this kitchen, I say. Every cabinet, this island, all of it. And now it's mine. She replies calmly, like she's stating a fact. That's how this family works. "Rowena, I thought you understood that by now." She opens one of the cabinets. Inside are my mother's dishes, already unpacked, already arranged, like they belong here, like I never did. Ilara takes a glass, fills it from the faucet I installed, takes a sip, then looks at me over the rim. Dad said you can take your tools when you leave. She adds, I don't need them. She walks out, back into the noise, back into her version of reality. I follow, because I hear my father's voice rising above the room. If I could have everyone's attention, please. He stands near the fireplace, the one I restored piece by piece. He lifts his glass. To family, he says, and to Alara's beautiful new home. Glasses rise, voices echo. To Alara, I stay where I am, at the back of the room, my hands clenched at my sides, my throat burning. But I don't speak. Not yet. Because I'm waiting, listening for something. A sound, a knock. A car pulling up the driveway, any second now. I know it's coming, and I know some of you would have snapped already. Trust me, I'm screaming on the inside too. But sometimes, the most powerful moment isn't when you react. It's when you wait. So if you've ever been the one your family expected to stay quiet, drop a fire in the comments. And if you want to see what happens when I finally stop being silent, stay with me, because it's about to happen. My father is still talking when it happens. Something about sacrifice, about what it means to provide. The same speech he's probably given his entire life. Then a knock. 3 sharp strikes. Firm, deliberate, not hesitant, not polite. The room goes quiet for half a second. My father frowns. My mother glances toward the door. No one moves. So I do. I walk across the room, past the stairs, past the silence, and open the door. Adrian stands on the porch, gray suit, leather briefcase, calm expression, but I can see it in his posture, tight, focused, ready. He gives me a small nod, and then I see her, behind him, moving slowly up the steps, both hands wrapped around a carved wooden cane. Evelyn Chase, 78 years old, silver hair pinned back, eyes sharper than anyone in that room. My father's voice cuts in from behind me. Who invited you? Adrian steps inside without hesitation. No one, he says evenly. I'm Ms. Chase's legal counsel. She doesn't need a lawyer. My father snaps. This is a family matter. Adrian sets his briefcase down on the dining table. With respect. Mr. Chase. Property transfer is a legal matter. The room freezes. Plates midair. Cups half raised. No one moves. Alara's smile fades. Slowly. Completely. Then my grandmother steps inside. I move instinctively, taking her arm. She pats my hand lightly, not even looking at me. Her attention is locked on one person. My father. She takes in the room. The decorations, the banner, the food arranged on counters I built. Her eyes settle on the glitter letters. Welcome home, Ilara. Then she turns to him, and the entire room seems to hold its breath. Her voice is quiet, clear, sharp. Victor, whose land do you think this is? He opens his mouth. Nothing comes out. Not a single word. My grandmother pulls out a chair at the table and sits down slowly, folding her hands in front of her. Sit down. Son, she says calmly, you're going to want to sit for this. Adrian flips open his briefcase. The click echoes, louder than anything else in the room. He takes out a document. Clean, bound, official. He places it on the table so everyone can see the seal. If I may have everyone's attention, he says. His voice isn't raised. It doesn't need to be. This property, including the land and all structures on it, is held in a revocable living trust established in 2012 by Evelyn Chase. He pauses just long enough for the words to settle. The sole beneficiary is Rowena Chase. My father takes a step forward. That's not possible, he says. My mother gave me. I gave you nothing. Victor. My grandmother's voice cuts through the room. She doesn't raise it. She doesn't need to. I allowed you to use the address. I allowed you to believe what you wanted. She continues. But I never transferred the title. It was never yours. Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. Adrian continues. Steady and precise. Mr. Chase, you hold no deed, no title, and no legal authority to transfer this property to anyone. He gestures lightly toward the document. Additionally, every building permit, every contractor invoice, every material receipt from the past 10 weeks is filed under Rowena Chase's name. I feel every eye in the room shift toward me. She is the legal owner of all improvements. Adrian finishes, and all records are verifiable through the county. My mother's voice breaks. Evelyn, how could you do this to us? My grandmother turns her head slowly, looks at her, unblinking. I did this for Rowena, she says. A pause. Because you two couldn't. And just like that, everything starts to collapse. Not loudly, not dramatically, but unmistakably. The room shifts. People who walked in thinking this was a celebration now realize they've been standing inside a lie. No one speaks at first. The silence feels heavy, like everything is finally catching up. My great aunt looks at my father. Victor, you told us this was your house. He doesn't answer. For once, he has nothing to say. Then my grandmother speaks, calm and clear. I created that trust when Rowena turned 18. I saw how you treated her, so I planned ahead. That's when everything starts to crack. Alara steps forward, hands shaking. This doesn't change anything, Alara. Be quiet. My father snaps. No, she says, her voice breaking. I need this house. I don't have anywhere else to go. Silence falls. My father turns slowly. What do you mean? Her eyes fill with tears. The penthouse. I lost it. I couldn't keep up. He stares at her, then at my mother. You lost the apartment? The one I gave you. My mother's voice trembles. I was going to tell you. You knew, and just like that, the truth spills out in front of everyone. Alara is crying, real and unfiltered. My mother tries to reach for my father, but he pulls away. Around us, people shift uncomfortably. I think we should go. My great aunt says quietly. That's enough. People start leaving. No one looks at my father or Alara. They look at me, briefly, then away. Within minutes, the house is empty. I stay where I am, my grandmother's hand steady in mine. My father turns to me. You planned this. I meet his eyes. No, Dad, you planned this. I just showed up. There's nothing left for him to argue. The room falls silent again. Plates sit abandoned. A balloon drifts across the floor. Outside, I can hear Alara crying in her car. Adrian steps forward, placing an envelope on the table. This is a cease and desist notice. You are not to enter this property without Rowena's consent. My father doesn't take it. The law is clear. Adrian adds, My mother looks at me, eyes filled with tears. Rowena, please. I know what she means. Please give in. Please make it easy. Mom, I love you, I say. But that doesn't mean I let you take everything from me. She breaks down quietly. My father stands and walks out without another word. My mother follows. The sound of their car fades into the distance. Then it's just quiet. Adrian rests a hand on my shoulder. You okay? I look around the room. The banner. The mess. Everything left behind. Not yet, I say, but I will be. That evening, I change the locks. Slowly, carefully, one screw at a time. It's simple work, but it feels like drawing a line that can't be crossed again. Later, there's a knock. My neighbor stands there with a pot of yellow flowers. She sets them on the railing and looks at me. I always knew that house was yours, she says. I blink. Your grandparents built it back in 1967, she adds. I remember watching them carry the wood in. I look at the house, at everything it's been, and everything it is now. And for the first time, it truly feels like mine. The image stays with me long after she says it. I stand there holding the pot of flowers, letting it settle into something deeper than just memory. My grandparents' hands shaping these walls. My grandmother protecting it all these years without me even knowing. And now, my hands finishing what they started. I walk back inside slowly. The banner is the first thing I take down. Welcome home. Alara. The glitter flakes onto the floor as I pull it loose. Then the balloons. One by one. I pop them. The sharp sounds echo through the house, each one breaking something that never belonged here. I clear the food next, carefully packing everything into containers, handing them off to my neighbor and the woman who lives 2 houses down. Nothing goes to waste. Nothing stays that doesn't belong. By the time I'm done, the house is quiet again, clean, honest. I sweep the floors, wipe down the counters, and then I sit, right in the middle of the living room. The same room that was once nothing but exposed studs and dust. For a long time, I don't move. I don't think. I just sit there. Because for the first time, the silence doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel like something waiting to break. It just feels like quiet. My phone buzzes, pulling me back. A message from Adrian. Get that electrical work done. Seriously. I let out a small breath. Then I pick up my phone and call the electrician. We schedule it for next Thursday. One more thing on the list. One more step forward. Later, while clearing out the hallway closet, I start removing my mother's things. Coats, boxes, old scarves I don't remember ever seeing her wear. And then, tucked behind everything, I find it. An envelope. Yellowed. No stamp. Not mailed. Hidden. My fingers pause as I turn it over. The handwriting hits me instantly. Evelyn. I open it carefully. My dear Rowena, your grandfather and I built that house together in 1967, the summer we got married. I always meant for it to go to someone who would love it the way we did. It was always meant for you. I stop reading. My chest tightens. I check the date. 5 years ago. 5 years. 5 years of her words. Sitting here, hidden behind someone else's coats. Hidden by my father. I press the letter against my chest. And for a moment, I close my eyes. I thought everything ended that night. I was wrong. If you've ever had to draw a line with someone you love, someone who was supposed to protect you, someone who didn't, comment my house. I read every single one. And if this story feels familiar in any way, share it with someone who might need to hear it, because what came next was quieter, but it changed everything. The fallout didn't happen all at once. It spread slowly, like water finding cracks. 1 week after that night, my great aunt stops answering my father's calls. She tells my aunt she's embarrassed to share his last name. A few days later, my cousin calls me. We've always been close. Same age. Used to sit next to each other every Thanksgiving. I always felt like something was off. She says quietly, I just didn't know what it was. I don't say anything. I'm sorry. She adds, I'm sorry no one stood up for you sooner. I sit there holding the phone, not knowing how to respond to something that should have come years ago. Then things start shifting in places I didn't expect. My father's position at church, gone. Not officially. No announcement. No confrontation. The pastor just stops calling. His name disappears from the bulletin. Quietly. Like it was never there. The image he built over years starts to dissolve. My mother disappears too. Not physically, but publicly. Her social media goes silent. No more smiling family photos. No more captions about gratitude. No more blessed to have my girls. For the first time in years, her profile picture changes, not to a family portrait, but to a sunset. Something distant, something quiet, something that doesn't ask questions. And for the first time, they don't control the story anymore. Things don't explode after that day. They unravel, slowly, quietly, like something that was already broken, finally being seen. Ilara gets her first call from a collections agency on a Monday morning, then another on Tuesday, then another, without my parents stepping in to smooth things over. Every dollar of that 62,000 lands exactly where it belongs. On her. All of it. No one is catching her anymore. One morning, my neighbor leans over the fence while I'm sanding down a window frame. Your father came by last week, she says casually. I pause. What Tuesday? He stood out front for about 10 minutes. Didn't knock. Didn't move. Just looked at the house. I don't respond. He left after that. She adds. I nod slowly. I don't know what to do with that information. So I do what I've learned to do with things I'm not ready to feel. I file it away. Then something unexpected happens. An email shows up in my inbox. Subject line, feature request. It's from a reporter at Homestead and Craft magazine. She found the photos I posted, the before and after, the process, my hands in every stage of it. She wants to feature the house. She wants to interview me. She wants to know who did the work. The work my father once called a waste of time. The work he never considered a real career. I sit there staring at the screen longer than I should. Then I reply, yes, Thursday afternoon. My phone rings again. I'm in my workshop, fitting a mortise joint into a custom bookcase. The name on the screen makes my hand stop. Victor. I let it ring once, twice. Then I answer. We need to talk. He says. His voice is different, not softer. He doesn't do soft, but worn, like something that's been used too long without care. I'm listening. I say, your grandmother isn't thinking clearly. He continues. She's old. She doesn't understand what she did with that trust. I close my eyes briefly. We should contest it. He adds, the family should have a say. I'll get a lawyer. We can fix this. No, I say. He pauses. She set that trust up with her own attorney. I continue calmly. It's been recorded for years. It's valid. Silence. I can hear him breathing on the other end. I'm your father, he says finally. That land should have been mine. I set the chisel down. It was never yours, I say. A beat. And neither am I. The silence stretches, long enough that I glance at the screen to make sure the call hasn't dropped. It hasn't. You're making a mistake, he says. The same tone, the same voice he used when I told him I was becoming a carpenter instead of following his path. Flat. Dismissive. I steady my voice. No, I say. The mistake was believing you would ever treat me fairly. I end the call. My hand trembles slightly as I lower the phone. I want to say it felt powerful. It didn't. It felt like pulling something out of a wound that had been infected for years. Necessary. Painful. Long overdue. Setting boundaries with someone you love isn't loud. It isn't satisfying. It's quiet. Lonely. And sometimes the bravest thing you can say is just enough. 2 weeks later, on a Saturday morning, I'm on the porch sealing a window frame. The sun is low, the air is still. Then I hear it. A car pulling into the gravel drive. The engine cuts. The door opens. But it doesn't close right away. I don't turn immediately. I just wait. Then footsteps. Slow. Uncertain. I look up. Ilara is walking toward me. No makeup. Hair tied back in a loose knot. Wearing a gray sweatshirt that looks too big for her. The kind of thing she would have never worn before. Her eyes are swollen. Her face tired. She looks older. Not physically, but in a way that comes from something breaking inside you. She stops at the bottom of the steps. My steps. The ones I rebuilt board by board. I'm not here to ask for the house. She says. I set the brush down. Then why are you here? She hesitates, then exhales. I don't know how to fix my life. Rowena. Her voice is raw. No softness. No performance. Just honesty. I owe $62,000. She continues. I haven't slept in a week. They call me every morning at 7. I look at her. Really look at her. And for the first time, I don't see the golden child. I don't see the one who always got more attention, more approval, more chances. I see someone who was given everything and taught nothing. Someone who never learned how to build anything for herself because she never had to. Until now. The distance between us feels smaller than it ever has, and somehow wider at the same time. I can't fix that for you, I say quietly. Her shoulders drop a little, like she expected it. And I won't. I let the words settle before continuing. But I can give you the number of a financial counselor Adrian trusts, someone who can help you figure things out. The rest, that's on you. She nods. No argument, no excuses, just a small, tired nod. She wipes her face, turns, and starts walking back toward her car. At the bottom step, she pauses for a second. I think she's going to say something else. Instead, she reaches into her bag, pulls out a small cardboard box, and sets it on the porch railing. I'm sorry, she says. A pause. For the kitchen. For everything. I look at her. I hear you, I say. And that's it? I don't say I forgive her, because I'm not there yet. And I've learned something recently. Forgiveness doesn't come on someone else's timeline. It comes when it's ready. She nods once more, then gets into her car and drives away. I watch until the dust settles. Then I turn back to the box. It's light, simple, unremarkable, until I open it. Inside are two thin silver bracelets. My breath catches. My grandmother gave them to us when we were 8, one for each of us. Ilara kept both for 15 years. I run my fingers over the metal, feeling the weight of something I didn't even realize I had lost. A month later, I'm standing in my living room watching a photographer adjust a reflector board, and I can't help thinking how surreal all of this feels. The house that once felt like a punishment is now the center of something completely different. The reporter from Homestead and Craft walks through each room with quiet focus, her recorder in one hand, notebook in the other. She stops in the kitchen, running her hand along the cabinets. Who did the millwork, she asks. I did. She looks at the floors. And this, me. The cabinetry, too. I nod. All of it. She pauses, then looks up. Who taught you? I smile without thinking. My grandmother. The article comes out 3 weeks later. 4 full pages. 12 photos. The headline reads, From Ruin to Remarkable. How one woman rebuilt a 1967 home with her own hands. The center spread is the kitchen, before and after, side by side. Proof of what persistence actually looks like. My neighbor ends up in one of the photos, leaning over the fence with a glass of lemonade, smiling like she's been part of the story all along. Within a week, the emails start coming in. Requests, orders, a dining table, a set of custom bookshelves, a nursery crib made from white ash. My workshop finally gets a name, Chase Woodworks. I hang the sign myself. Adrian calls me that afternoon. Title is fully secured, he says. Insurance is in place. No one can touch it. I lean back against the workbench. Thank you, I say, for everything. That's what I'm here for. He replies. A brief pause. Now tell me you fixed the electrical. I laugh. A real laugh. Done. New panel. New wiring. Past inspection. Good. He says. Finally. That weekend. Another email arrives, this time from the community center downtown. They want to know if I'd be willing to teach a woodworking class. For women. I read it twice. Then I say yes. The class fills in 3 days. In May. My grandmother comes to stay. She pulls into the driveway in her old car. The trunk filled with flowers, soil, and a photo album I've never seen before. We plant marigolds in the front yard together, kneeling side by side in the dirt, just like she taught me to sand wood. Slow, steady, with your whole hand. She points to a spot near the edge of the yard. This is where your grandfather and I planted our first garden, she says. Summer of 1967. I press the soil gently around a seedling. Same flowers. She smiles. Marigolds and zinnias. I nod. I found your letter. I tell her. The one he hid. She doesn't look surprised. I wrote 3. She says softly. 3 letters. He hid all of them. The words sit between us. Heavy. 3 chances to reach me. 3 times someone decided I didn't deserve to hear from the one person who always believed in me. But she squeezes my hand lightly. "You're here now," she says. "That's what matters." That evening, we sit on the porch, the one I rebuilt, the sun dipping low, the air calm, and for the first time in a long time, everything feels exactly where it should be. The evenings settle into something gentle after that. My neighbor starts bringing over a glass of lemonade without asking. It becomes a quiet ritual between us. No words needed. Just a shared understanding that some things don't need to be explained. Across the road, a young couple who moved in recently wave from their driveway. I wave back. It feels simple, easy, normal in a way my life never used to be. My grandmother reaches for my hand as we sit on the porch. Her skin feels fragile, paper thin, but her grip is steady, strong. "The best revenge isn't revenge at all," she says. "It's the life you build after." I look out at the yard, the marigolds blooming where we planted them, the fresh paint catching the last light of the day. The house that, just a few months ago, was barely standing. I didn't get fairness from my family, but I built something else instead. With wood, with effort, with truth. "I know," I say softly. She squeezes my hand. "I know you do." A week after she leaves, I sit at my desk, the one I built from reclaimed cherry, the first piece I ever sold. And I write an email. "Mom, Dad, I love you. That hasn't changed. But I will not accept being treated as less than. I will not be the daughter you take from to give to someone else. I will not make myself smaller just so someone else can feel bigger. If you want a relationship with me, it begins with respect, not control, not obligation, not guilt. I'm not closing the door, but I am choosing who gets to walk through it." "Rowena." I read it once. Then I send it. There's no reply. Not that day. Not the next. Not the week after. And for the first time in my life, the silence doesn't hurt. Because this time, it's mine. I chose it. It wasn't forced on me. I learned that love without respect will slowly erase who you are. For years, I chose silence to keep peace. But in the end, I chose myself. I set boundaries, even when it hurt, because I finally understood that my worth isn't something others get to decide. If you would have made the same choice as me, write good. If not, write no, or time if you're still thinking. And if this story meant something to you, your like, comment, and subscribe aren't just support. They help stories like this reach someone who truly needs it.